had to kind of go on the back burner. Had to be put on a shelf somewhere until the Ultravox thing was out the way, and then get on with other stuff. So it was quite a long process this time.
I mean, it was quite a bit of work to get it all together, to get used to the new technologies, techniques, not technology. And how did you manage to cope with all that? You know, to get through the new technologies and to get them learn the new lyrics in the old ones, which has been quite complicated.
I still haven't learned the new lyrics. You know, I'm notorious for it. Like I get it wrong all the time, but when we started work 3 years ago for the Return to Eden tour, we spent more than 6 weeks in rehearsals, and that 6 weeks was not only learning the new technology, you know, learning the new in-ear systems, the digital desks, the stuff. I mean, I'd been using that stuff for a long time, but the rest of the guys hadn't. This was all brand new technology, using computers for the synthesizers, for the software, for the sounds, and it was a whole new learning curve. And also, nobody's quite sure when Warren last played his drums, you know, or when Chris last picked up a bass guitar, because they do other things. So we had to go back and kind of fire all that up again and get it all moving.
Time, sorry.
Okay, 5 minutes. We'll
you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Does the new technology make it easier a bit? You might thinking of presets and stuff like that, or would you prefer to go back in time sometimes just to do those little things?
Yeah, sometimes the old stuff was easier, but the way we used to do it, we never had anything that wasn't adapted or altered, so we had to have two of everything. So we couldn't just go out with a mini Moog. And if it broke down, you hire another one, because the mini Moog was all adapted and altered and changed to do certain things to make it work. So that had its own problems. Using the new technology has its own problems as well. You have to take a computer expert out with you, not just a keyboard tech. You've got to bring someone who actually understands Macintoshes, who understands the Apple Mac, and understands what's going wrong with it if it starts to go wrong. And they do, because they're not designed for touring. They're designed for sitting in an office, you know, making, you know, word processing or whatever it is, or graphics or whatever. They're not designed to go out on the road. So each one, both ways of doing it, have their own inherent problems.
At one tour, I think 2 years ago, when we met you in Schwerin, where it was as cold as outside now, and you had a little keyboard. It was this size, and it was perfect for this little intimate acoustic gig. Would you do it again, or how did you like to use that?
I thought it was quite fun. I would do it again if it needed it, if it wanted, you know, if I thought it would be an interesting thing to do. When I did it before, it was interesting because I could do some songs that I hadn't done for a while. You know, Fade to Grey, doing it with a track and playing the keyboard parts and things. It's quite fun. But this time around, I think maybe because we had just toured with all the keyboards and all the synthesizers and all the technology, it was quite nice to just get back to the acoustic guitar for a little bit. But it doesn't mean that I won't do it again.
Yeah. And what I always thought about, like you're doing acoustic gigs quite a lot when you're on your own. Is it possible to do it with an electric guitar, or is it just the whole setup wouldn't work then?
I don't know. There's something about trying to do songs alone with an electric guitar that don't really work. Maybe some things it might work a bit. I'm not sure. I've seen people do it. I've seen Billy Bragg do things with an electric guitar and just sing on his own, and it always sounds a bit empty. Whereas an acoustic guitar, it seems to fill the space a bit more. You can be more. I don't know, give it more highs and lows with an acoustic guitar. You can be really intimate with it, or you can give it a right good thrash. And there's something very rhythmic about an acoustic guitar, which helps fill in the fact that you haven't got drums.
Okay.
There's one question I'd really like to know. How do you go on, you know, writing new material? Do you start with melody first? Do you have a melody in your head and you have to think, okay, about the lyrics, or do you usually go the other way around?
The lyrics usually tend to come last, but the idea for the song is usually lyrical, because it's something you've seen or experienced or read. So you have, you know, a saying, a phrase, a word, whatever it happens to be in your head, and you know what you want to write the song about. But then for me, it's really important that I get the atmosphere that's created, that the music will create. So I start working with the melodies. And then the last thing is making the idea that you have fit with the melodies and the atmosphere you've created. And that, for me, is how it works. There are lots of people that just sit with an acoustic guitar in their dressing room, just write and jot it down, and they've written a song. I don't work that way. I never have. So for me, the technology, the sounds, the atmosphere that's created has to enhance what you're actually saying with the text.
As I just mentioned, atmosphere. How important is the lighting of the show for you?
Oh, the acoustic stuff isn't. The acoustic stuff is not. You see, it's that. It's a spotlight and a microphone. That's it. But the staging for the Ultravox thing. I mean, I worked on that for a long time. You know, Chris and I got together a long time back and started talking about. We looked into the projections and we looked into the LED screens and all the stuff that everyone seems to be using. It's the same attitude as we have with music. You know, everyone can have the same technology now. Everyone can have the same toys. Unless you've got a good idea, you don't do anything good with it. It's the same with the lights. Everyone can have the best flashing, moving things, screens, projectors, stages that go up and down and whatever. And if you see all that happening all the time, it's boring. It's what you do with it. So that's why we took out the projectors, but only used them maybe 5 or 6 times in 2 hours. But used them to effect. And that's what's important to us.
It's those tiny things, isn't it? Those.
Well, yeah, I mean, I drove
atmosphere.
Chris Curran mad because we got all these really expensive lights. And I said, can you make them look as though they're broken, that they flicker? And he went, so what do you mean? I said, so I made him make the lights kind of flicker on and off like they were about to break. You know, because that's really interesting to me. You know, so.
So I'm not quite sure how much time we've still left. May I change the topic, because it's just a few days until Christmas. I suppose you're being at home for Christmas.
I hope so.
Like everybody does. So would you mind telling us about your traditions in your family, how to celebrate this feast, and do you cook the big meal for Christmas?
Oh,
or
yeah.
what do you do?
Oh, yeah, you've got to do that. Yeah, I take over the kitchen again.
Sounds very good. You just want to clean it afterwards.
I quite enjoy it. I've got lots of girls around to clean up. It's fantastic. But we have a quiet Christmas. We don't do a lot. I mean, I travel a lot throughout the year, so it's quite nice to just have a little intimate setup and get all my daughters together. And just have a
Will you be in
quiet
England
time.
or in Canada?
I'll be in England.
Okay.
Yeah.
So still snow, obviously, maybe?
Maybe.
That
I don't
time?
know. It's cold over there, but it's not as cold as it is
Yeah.
here. So I don't think we've got snow yet. Not down. Not down where
So
we are.
if you do the cooking, what is the tradition then? Would it be a turkey or whatever?
Oh
or
yes, it's got to be the turkey. In fact, the girls have requested that we don't have a Sunday lunch. Normally, a Sunday lunch is a chicken or a whatever, and they requested that we didn't have that for a month before Christmas, because we normally have it every Sunday. So that Christmas Day is a really special, big day. But it takes so long to make it all, and then you can only eat so much, you know, and you think, was it worth it? But it usually is.
So who is getting the Christmas tree then? Do you go into the forest and
No, I've done it. Yeah, we did it just before coming over here, because I realised that by the time I get back, it would be kind of late for the girls to put the tree up and things. So we did it just before I left, so they get the.
And you brought it from
the
Canada?
smell. No, we didn't bring it from Kiel. We got it from a garden centre in Bath.
When I was living in England, I saw that in the family I was living in, they put the presents under the tree at the beginning of December.
Yeah.
So the kids had to wait and see their
Pick
presents.
them up and shake them and listen to them. And
Do you share this tradition as well?
Oh yeah. They like to see the amount of presents grow. But we do it differently in the UK. We don't let them open the presents until Christmas Day, whereas here you open them on Christmas
the day
Eve.
before.
So they have to wait. for Christmas morning.
I think there was just one last question, which was very important for Ruth, who's running the site as well, about the poster they'd made up in Bielefeld. Did you recognize that at all? I mean, it was all a bit in a hurry then when they, pulled it up.
The poster was fantastic.
Yeah,
it was fantastic. I mean, it put a big smile on our faces. It was great to see it. It was just, she's so organised, Ruth. I don't know how she does it. And she gave us these little mugs, little kind of coffee mugs, the other day with, thanks for the brilliant tour printed on the mugs. So she's so organised. It's great.
I think it's the only way to show our respect and how grateful we all are. That
I think being there to support it is the ultimate show of respect and admiration. I don't think you need a poster, but it was great to see the big banner. The banner was fabulous. It was great.
Exactly. You don't have many ways to say things like that.
I think you have actually no idea about the amount of happiness you give to people like us, like people who went to the gigs. It is really, I don't know, like taking drugs maybe. I don't know, I've never tried any, but it's the same feeling obviously when you go out there or during the gig, and being frosty like in Leipzig, minus 10 degrees in this
inside
venue. And I did put my jacket off until the fifth song.
It was freezing.
But then I was burning hot, so thank you very much for that.
It's a pleasure.
Well, I think.
Right. Okay. They're looking for
the next journalists here.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I've got a little present
Just
waiting.
run and get it.
So thank you very much for taking time.
It was a
It's
pleasure.
really a great pleasure for us. So.
And you're staying for the show, of course.